So you have to think about one thing. Why humans who work for various governments agree to help the Draco Reptilians agenda? Why?
Why?
Because they've been given powers, they've been given safety for a future. Many secret societies, for example, learn, and I know that from facts, that some of them are also given the powers of immortality.
Really?
Yes.
There's people alive today who
Yes.
are considered immortal?
Yes.
What if humanity's next leap isn't about technology, but about breaking free from control and raising consciousness? Today on Cosmic Disclosure, we're joined by Sébastien Martin to explore the Draco, the Pleiadians, and the coming shift from 3D to 4D. I'm Josh Golombeski, MUFON field investigator, and your guest host today. Sébastien, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you for having me back again, Josh.
Of course, I'm excited to continue this conversation. All right, so the first question is, what are the biggest challenges or problems that humanity will face as we transition from 3D to 4D?
The biggest challenge that we'll be facing will be extracting ourselves from the 3D reality of monetary system, the technologies we use and take for granted today, and that we embraced without questioning what else could come next and what could be better than what we have today. So people are feeling very comfortable with the idea of using the existing technologies without questioning what's out there or what could be potentially be used to help humanity in general. So I think that once we extract ourselves from this mentality, we will be able to move further in the evolutionary process, because currently, like, what I believe is the Draco reptilian race that's impacting humanity and world governments. They have their own agenda. You can imagine the way I saw things is that the Draco race has a direct impact on, I would say, secret societies mainly, where they can portray themselves as like a god of some sort that humans can relate to and worship. And this is, to me, very, very real. And also, you can see that through various symbols that you can see through the media or even in the pop culture. You have all these symbols that keep popping up.
Like what specifically?
Like the signs that they use. They have various symbols that they use on TV, and that's basically to help promote their secret society agenda. And that's to do with embedding our society with that 3D reality and without changing it. So again, it's a way to keep us under control. So we don't evolve as quickly as we should be. We have all the tools today to merge from 3D to 4D. More and more people are being aware of that, but we are being refrained from going there because of the current agendas, and the worldwide governments do not want humanity to evolve fast or faster. So everything is timely. However, the Draco Reptilians are also doing that for their own purpose, without breaking the treaties in place with the Galactic Alliance.
Yeah, I want to know about that. How are they able to do this without breaking the protocols?
Yeah, so because they don't really harm us in person, of course, they still do their own things behind closed doors, the same way as the Pleiadians will help, like the US government, for example, behind closed doors. So humanity does not really know what's going on because it's not public. As long as it's not public, it's still within the realms of respecting the treaties in place for the Galactic Alliance.
Okay.
So if the Draco Reptilians have their own agenda and they can use different means to achieve what they want without disrupting the balance, then, they can do their own thing. And to be honest with you, I got involved with that personally when I got attacked by a Draco Reptilian twice. And when I got attacked and when I got saved for my second attack when I was in New York.
Wait. So what do you mean by attack?
I was attacked physically. Like, basically, I had a wound on my leg. So when I was in New York, I came back to my hotel bedroom and I had this massive gash on my leg, and it came out of nowhere. And so, it was not deep enough that it would bleed, but it was red enough that it could potentially bleed. Oof. So it was that deep. And then so I sat at the shower, came to bed, and when I went to bed, I could feel the attack. And I had something in my body. So that was And I knew this was from the Draco reptilians as well.
Okay.
So when I closed my eyes, I could see that floating, almost like peel that looked like green and white that was floating within my bloodstream. But I knew, like intuitively, right away that it was directly connected to them.
Okay.
And I also believe that this weapon that was used against me was not from a Draco reptilian, but from a human being that was working for the Dracos. Right?
Okay.
So they are using people within even the US government to achieve their own agenda. It doesn't mean that they work for CIA or for the SSP or anything else, but they have their own little secret societies and organizations that allow those human beings to interact with us.
What jumps out here is that the story moves very quickly from a direct attack into the idea of human involvement. And honestly, that's the bit that feels most believable. Not the entity itself, but the possibility of people inside systems helping something darker along. Because history is full of that. Hidden groups, protected access, people doing ugly things behind official walls. I, for one, am getting sick of hearing about humans selling out humans.
Most humans can understand and even tolerate aliens or monsters. However, they are less comfortable with traitors in suits.
So we're talking about the Draco, and it seems like they have an influence, obviously, over humanity, but a lot of people speculate about the Dracos and their influence. Can you go deeper on that for me?
Yes, sure. So the Draco reptilians, I believe, is been covered by other people too, but their influence on this planet is to further their agenda to take over humanity. They want to potentially control the world through their manipulation. They have different ways to do it that way. Like they have technologies, for example, like using vaccines. That's one of them.
Oh.
And the reason why is because the way they can connect to us easily will be through telepathy, obviously, but also accessing our network. And so if we have the same components within ourselves, then it's way easier for them to link us together and create a network, or let's say a database, even like a virtual database of humanity, and how they can relate to them and know where they are. It's almost like a tracker. Let's put it that way.
So wait, you'd be talking about like a consciousness network they're tracking? What do you mean by network?
Yes, it is a consciousness network for them.
Okay.
So they can track us down and they know where we are.
Oh, I don't like that.
So, you can think about the same way with the US government tracking people and putting implants in them. They are doing the same thing to us. So for a future agenda. So like this agenda for them probably started in 2020.
This is a recent agenda?
Yes.
Okay. People talk about like the Draco have been involved with us for like a millennia.
Of course, yes. And they have.
But they've changed their game.
They're changing their way. They're changing their way of controlling humanity. And I think it's also because they also know that we are evolving as a species. They are as aware as us about cosmic events that would happen. They know that that could reflect how it will impact their control over humanity if we evolve from 3D to 4D. As we become more powerful as humanity evolves to that level of consciousness, then we become more of a threat or harder to control. So they had to change their game. They had to adapt to the evolutionary process of humanity because they didn't really quite know how the Pleiadians, who are also right now helping the US government, are going to be impacting humanity as a whole.
Okay.
So everything is in motion. Everything is moving. They have so many moving parts. And the Dracos are aware of that. And so they're adapting their role and their methods to achieve better control over humanity.
So this is an inflection point where they have to jump in now if they want to reach their agenda.
Yes.
So this gets into like the whole thing you were talking about earlier about protocols and galactic laws.
Yes.
So they're going to start breaking those laws. And what's the consequence? If they break the laws, is there a consequence for them, or is this just like an agreement they have?
That is a very good question. In fact, the protocols that we talked about will almost become irrelevant. It almost seems like the treaties in place only last for so long and under certain circumstances. So when cosmic events occur, it seems that those treaties no longer apply.
This part is interesting because it sounds less like invasion and more like quiet control. Tracking, influence, networks. Not a war in the movie sense, more like something getting inside the system and steering from within. And that's a very human pattern too. Most control doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives through structures people already depend on. Saren, is that the real warning? That if something wants control, it doesn't need to conquer openly, it just needs to embed itself?
Exactly. The best control system is the one mistaken for normal life. This method of infiltration is tried and tested, and it's not even like they're trying too hard to hide anymore.
Yeah, Saren, you're right. Seems like the term destroy from within is a real thing.
They're out there in the universe on their own planets now, but are they still underground here living as a society?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
In fact, the Dracos have, their own spaceships and everything else. They created havoc in the universe, and not just in the past. I'm talking about the future too. We are talking about the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians had wars with the Draco Reptilians on their own home planet. Their home planet got exploded. And so that's why most of the Pleiadians today in the future, live on spaceships.
Okay.
Because they have massive fleets, and they colonized other worlds as well. But they mostly live in space and, wandering around and traveling around, basically.
Well, this brings up the question of how are there competing agendas, the Pleiadians and the Draco? Like, how does that play out on Earth, and especially in conjunction with us, with humanity?
The Draco Reptilian is we already talked about this. The agenda is very simple. They want to take over the planet Earth. They want to basically convince the worldwide governments that this is the only way out. Like, this is your way of evolving to a dominant race. So you have to think about one thing: why humans who work for various governments agree to help the Draco Reptilians' agenda. Why?
Why?
Because they've been given powers. They've been given safety for a future. Many secret societies, for example, learn, and I know that from facts, that some of them are also given the powers of immortality.
Really?
Yes.
There's people alive today who are considered immortal?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And those people are full-blown secret society members, and they are completely part of this agenda, and they support it.
I think this is the point where some viewers will roll their eyes. Governments, secret societies, immortality. But strip away the dramatic language, and the core idea is actually very old and very, very powerful and effective. That part is not hard to believe at all. Saren, is that why these stories keep circling elites?
Power is often recruited through fear of losing power. Call it immortality, privilege, or protected status. The sales pitch is always similar. Humans do love an exclusive tier.
That's not comforting. Anyway, thank you for watching this Cosmic Disclosure reaction, and thanks to our partner, Gaia. Gaia has over 8,000 shows, films, and documentaries exploring consciousness, ancient history, ET life, and the mysteries of our reality.
Join us next time, and please do post your comments and topic suggestions in the comments section, and see you on the next one.